Hi everyone and welcome to this presentation. Today we are going to talk about how you can increase the value of your company if you have a B2C business. This is sold directly to consumers, business to consumer. And so I am going to share the 10-point checklist you can do in order to increase the value of your company. This is something I do all day, every day, and these are all conversations I have had over the years with many people. There's a few things I want to start by saying. The first one is that consumers are price takers. If you go to Sainsbury's or if you go to any other retailer, you have two options, the option to buy or the option to walk. There's no scope for bargaining power. There's no option for you haggling with price. We as consumers, we are price takers. So this is a consideration that someone is making whenever they are buying or considering the value of a company. Also, with a B2C business, you want to be taking a little bit of money from a lot of people a lot of the time. This means that you won't have massive contracts with one single customer or a list of say 15 or 20 key customers, but you will hopefully have hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of little customers that once they add up, that's what makes the profit and loss of a company. So a little bit of money from a lot of people all of the time. And B2C businesses have a couple of downsides. And I own a B2C business myself. And sometimes, well, a lot of the time actually, we sell commodities that are very hard to differentiate. This, of course, impacts margins because there's always going to be people who want to do it cheaper. There's always people who are trying to undercut you. There's always people who want your profit and they see your profit as an opportunity. And, if you have a company that really does have a different way of doing things, that will get reflected on the company's profit margins, the gross margin and the net margins. But anyway, more on that later. We then have the tricky situation of that most business to consumer businesses don't have recurring revenue. If we think about companies like HelloFresh or Netflix, these are B2C, but they are massive businesses. They are built at scale. Most of us have small businesses with no recurring revenue, not real recurring revenue. So what can we offer? What could you offer that's recurring revenue or close to recurring? If you think about automotive, if you think about car dealers, you will see that a lot of these car dealerships aren't making all that much money on the cars they sell, but they want to sell you all the stuff that might or might not be recurring, but those are the optionality packages they want to upsell you on. And that, of course, increases the value of that particular company. And so if you have a product or service that you can sell with certain regularity or with a degree of recurring revenue, then that's very beneficial to increase the value of your company. So anyway, to point number one, and this is the most important one whenever I do M&A consultancy, is remove yourself completely from the business. And this is something we have all, talked about and heard, and it's something extremely difficult to do. Do you have managers you trust? Can you delegate? And this is not easy, obviously. Having the right managers and having the right delegation processes in place is extremely complex. I mean, this is something that I have battled with in one of my companies for a long time, and it's taken a while for me to find people who I can rely on to run that business without me. So can you remove yourself from your business completely? can you take a 6-month holiday, or can you just go away for 6 months or 12 months, travel the world, and your company might even be bigger when you come back? Is there a way of you doing that? If the answer is yes, then the value of your company will be substantially higher than if you have to do everything. You are entrenched deeply in your business, and so you wouldn't be able to sell your company or to value your company for a lot, because your company is intimately tied to you. I remember I was doing a consultancy call with a company. They had done a valuation with me, and then they wanted some further thoughts. And the company was making custom-made equipment for disabled people, and they wanted to sell the company. And I was talking to this owner, and I mean, the process he had to sell the equipment, and to the way he was talking about their customers was incredible. And it was something very personal, something he really enjoyed doing. It was, again, a B2C business. And so one of the questions I said, so if my child comes in with a disability, how do you know what the right cushion for the chair is? How do you know about this? How do you know about that? And he was saying to me that he's done it so many times that no one else in the company, and they were a very specialized company, no one else in the company apart from him could actually do it. And he did it, freehand. He didn't have a process. He had a process in his mind, and because from experience he had done it so many times. And I said to him, well, do you realize that if I were to buy this business, for example, I would not be able to do what you do, because I don't have the skills, I don't have the experience, and I can certainly not just look at a person and see what they need, how much do they need, and how many things do they need. And so because I don't know how many things they need, it's very, very hard for anyone to run this business apart from you. So that was one of my key nuggets for that owner. You have to remove yourself from your business. The second one, and is tied to the first one, is create processes, create systems. If you have seen or read the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, it's all about creating systems in companies in order for your company to be a bit more automatized, in order for your company to have a structure. If anyone walks into your company tomorrow or wants to start working in it, can they do it relatively quickly? How steep is the learning curve? This is extremely important whenever we talk about buying and selling businesses and valuing companies, because this is something key that someone else is going to look at. How easy would it be for me to run this company? I'm not very bright myself, so whenever I go into companies, everything has to be spelled out, because if it isn't, then I do struggle. And if I struggle, any other person would struggle. The third one is increase, or try to increase, average customer value. And this is something very micro. Let's say that you have a barbershop or a restaurant, and your medium-sized ticket, your average customer value for your barbershop is £20. What can you do to get that average per head to £25? If you have a restaurant and your average bill is, say, £50, what could you do? What could you offer? What bundle could you get in place so that that average customer value goes from £50 to £60? And you would be surprised how many things you might come up with if you pay attention and if you dedicate the time to doing this. And obviously, because you are going to have so many transactions, because you have a B2C business, your profit and your turnover will be affected in a very positive manner. So increasing or trying to increase average customer value will definitely increase the value of your business. The fourth point is, or has to do with, location dependent businesses. If your business is location dependent, then you are subject to a lot more possible destruction. Let's say you are on a high street in the UK, and the local authority starts digging out holes literally outside your shop, outside your premises. Your profits will or might just completely disappear for a period of time. And this has nothing to do with your ability, with your product, with your service, with anything to do with you. These are external factors. What happens if there's flooding around where you live, in your shop, in your premises, and your business needs to stop trading, sadly and unfortunately? You have to think about this. How can you expand the optionality to your business? Could you sell online? Could you have a different trade within your business? Could you add another line, another feather to your cap, as it were? So if you have a location dependent business, what can you do to make that revenue, that turnover, a bit less dependent on where you are located? And this is something that a lot of people battle with. And this is something that happens all day, every day across the United Kingdom. We see local authorities who have no regard for local businesses, and they start digging out holes outside local shops, and traffic, foot traffic, does get affected, and the local businesses do suffer. So, what can you do about it? What could you do about it? Location, location, location. That really does matter as well. The fifth will be size, and size really does matter. Think about this. The bigger you get, the more bargaining power you have. The more you can buy in bulk and get trade discounts, for example. How can you increase the size of your company? Not necessarily the profits. I'm not talking about the profits. I'm talking about the size. How can you get the better deals for your business? By buying in bulk, if you are in retail, for example. And size really does matter. If you have a micro business, having a micro business is extremely tough, because you are in a bit of a no man's land. But the bigger you get, the more opportunities you have to diversify, to buy in bulk, to get better discounts, to ultimately make more money, because the more you buy, the cheaper you can get things. I was listening to the CFO of Ryanair, and they had hedged the oil price, the fuel price for Ryanair aircraft for the next 2 years. So this is incredible, to be able to forecast how much they are going to pay. They will now know how profitable they are going to be. So that's one less thing to worry about. Same with Starbucks. They hedge. They say, I'm going to be paying this much for coffee for the next 18 months or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. And so that's going to be our cost. And I'm not going to deviate from that. What could you do that you could show someone, and that obviously has a positive impact on your business and the value of it? Can you create offers? Can you create optionality in your business? Whenever it comes to trade discounts and whenever it comes to size, what other lines could you add to your roster, for example? And the bigger you get, again, the more valuable your company can be. The sixth would be know your numbers. And this is something, again, another classic that I battle with people all day, every day. Do you produce monthly management accounts? Extremely important whenever we talk about buying and selling companies and showing business valuations and increasing value of companies. Do you know your numbers inside out? Can you produce monthly management accounts every single month? Can you look at your numbers? Do you spend any amount of time digging into the numbers, understanding the numbers? If I ask you what your gross margin is, can you just recite it off the top of your head? I hope you can. And if you can't, that's something definitely to worry about and to harp on. Be able to show a seller or anyone interested your exact numbers and why your numbers might ebb and flow. If they do ebb and flow, can you show your gross margin? Can you show the seasonality of your business? If you have a restaurant, a seaside restaurant, for example, during May, June, July, or when kids are off school, you might see an uptick in trade. Is that explainable on the numbers? Very, very important. Any leverage you have in the business, any debt levels in the business, if you have different debts for different things, for example, with different interest rates, what are those? Can you explain them? That, again, understanding those metrics are extremely important. Any lines of credit you have with yourself, if you are your own company, if you are your own bank, rather, with other banks, with other credit facilities, with any other societies, any other forms of financing you have, friends, family, any other institutions. Showing all these numbers really does help. So yeah, people are going to look at your margins. If you want a valuation from us, if you request a valuation from me, you need to get your company valued for whatever reason. I am going to look at your numbers. I'm going to look at your margins. I'm going to analyze your profitability. I am going to dig into the balance sheet. I'm going to pull out all the notes. I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to prod, and I'm going to see where the money is going for every aspect in your company, and that determines the value of it. So that would be incredibly important as well. The seventh one is have marketing sorted, or as sorted as you can have it. People don't really pay for potential or blue sky. And this is something, again, that for whatever reason, people really do harp on. And they ask themselves, well, I could really take this business to the next level, but I haven't been able to take it, or I haven't wanted to take it to the next level, but it can really go to the next level if you buy it from me. Therefore, because it has all this potential, you have to pay a premium for it, or the value should be this. Well, the value should not be this, because you haven't really cracked the code, as it were. So how can you have your marketing sorted? Do you have a marketing system, for example, whereby you spend £1,000 on marketing and you can make a profit? And then what happens if you put £2,000? How much would you make on £2,000? And what about if you spent £35,000? How much would you make back? Have you tried and tested all these numbers, and do you have any feedback? And if you do, what was that feedback? Maybe the right amount of marketing for your business size is 10% of turnover, or maybe it's 3% of turnover, or it's £45,000 a month. Whatever that might be, have a marketing system, a marketing machine in place. Marketing should never be counted as expenditure, but as investment, because that really does affect the bottom line, hopefully. So yeah, have your marketing sorted. Doing that really does, boost the value of your company. I touched on this before, but this is optionality. If you offer a service, what other products or services could you offer? And I have here the example of my Turkish barber, and he offers a standard price and a hot towel price, right? So with the hot towel service, he will do this, that, and the other, but the price is 3 times as expensive. What I have noticed is that for an extra 30 minutes of work, he gets a lot more money. And that's just a small example. Let's say you make £10 on one product or service, but can you offer a premium product? What else can you offer? I don't know, that you can sell for a lot more, or maybe a lot less, or maybe an add-on. What else can you give me as a potential customer that could increase the value of your company, that could increase the amount of money people spend with you? So having the optionality, having the wherewithal to think about all the offers, all the sales, anything you can think of would be extremely important. The 9th is your business growing? If your business is growing, your business will be more valuable. If your business is flatlining or your business is nosediving, then your business is going to be worth a lot less. And again, this is another thing that I see all the time with different businesses, with different cyclical business. If you have, again, the seaside town restaurant, or any other seasonal business, if trade isn't how it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, 25 years ago, then someone else is going to look at those numbers and be like, well, this company is not worth as much as it used to. And because it made £10 million 20 years ago, 10 years ago, that doesn't mean you're going to make £10 million next year, or in 2 years, or in 5 years, unless I do this, and this. But that would be something in the future, and that's not going to make your company more valuable right now. So if you want to increase the value of your company, can you grow your company? Can you show growth in the last few years, in the last couple years? And what have you done? How have you implemented that growth? And the 10th one is be different. To the end consumer though, not to you as the owner of the business. Let me say that again, because this is probably the hardest one to understand, and arguably one of the most important things you can ever do in business. How can you be different, but to the end consumer, not to you, not to your staff, not to your family, to the end consumer? Let's look at some businesses, shall we? We have Starbucks, right? Let's look at a Starbucks. The buildings look a certain way, with a metallic sort of feel to Starbucks, with the logo, with that green and white logo. We have the smell. Anytime you walk into Starbucks, that there's a particular smell. It's different from Costa, if you ask me. It's different from Nero. The Starbucks smell is different. The decor is very different. How about the sustainability projects they adhere to? You turn around and you see this program for kids, whatever. That I do think about that sometimes whenever I go into Starbucks. I'm there to be surprised sometimes. You can see the toilet designs, even the bathrooms are something very, very specific to Starbucks. So Starbucks is different, not just in the product, not just on the service, not just on the name, not just on 2 or 3 metrics. They try to be different in hundreds of ways, and that's just for coffee. That's all they sell. They sell coffee, and they charge an absolute mozza for coffee. From the buildings to the smell to the decor to the sustainability projects, the toilet designs, the name on the cup. I don't know. There's a lot of things there that Starbucks tries to do to be different. What can you do to be different? Let's look another one. Nando's. We have the brand, the way they do things. Is it your first time in Nando's? They always ask you that. The free refills you get. Their trendiness. If you listen to their commercials, their marketing is very, very special. The marketing is very upbeat. The marketing makes you want a Nando's because it puts you in that frame of mind. And again, they have a lot of things where they try to be different from the offering. The chicken, they make the chicken in a specific way. They, whenever you go in, you get seated in a certain way. There's a certain protocol. Everything is an open space. It's very welcoming. Again, it's not just one thing. It's a few things. Let's look at another business. M&S. Very specifically, the food court at M&S. If you are like me and you're a bit of a food snob, at Christmas, M&S is wonderful. Everything is just incredible. Everything has a premium feel to it because it is premium. From the labeling of everything, the names of everything. It's not just cream, it's luscious cream or premium cream or whatever they want to label things as. The quality of the selection they offer, the optionality, all that premium feel. Conversely, we can go into Aldi and they have a very limited amount of products. It's come and go. It's very quick. Everyone's trying to rush you all the time. They rush you, they push you really through the till. That's also a unique selling experience. M&S, it's relaxed, it's peaceful, it's calm, it's premium, it's pompous, it's wonderful. Aldi is cheap, it's cheerful, it's come and go, it's few products, it's punchy, it's direct, boom, 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 and let's go. What can you implement in your business that is objectively different? Not subjectively different, but objectively different. And this again is for B2C businesses. There's a few other considerations I want to give you if you want to increase the value of your business. The first one is market saturation. Pubs and restaurants and a lot of hospitality business are really, really hard. Business inherently is incredibly hard. If you have spent any time running a business, there's problems all day, every day, and you can't stop thinking about it. But there's certain industries that are highly commoditized, and there's an extreme market saturation with them. Pubs and restaurants spring to mind. All you have to do is spend 6 months on any street anywhere in the UK and you will see new pubs and new restaurants, or pubs and restaurants changing hands all the time. There's a reason for that. And the reason is that a lot of hospitality businesses are really hard. Can you make money? Yes. Can you sell them? Yes. Can they reach high valuations? Yes. Because I value them every week pretty much. So yes, you can have a pub or a restaurant or another highly commoditized or business in a highly saturated market. But those businesses are inherently harder than if you have a business that is in another corner or another industry. Another very interesting consideration is VAT. If we look at VAT, let's again, a food business or a, like a hospitality business, a lot of the goods you buy for your restaurant or for your hospitality business might be reduced VAT or zero VAT. Once you heat them up and you cook them and you prepare them, you have to sell them with VAT. So off the top, you are making 10, 15, 20% less money because of the VAT consideration. So a lot of businesses will think because they have a very high turnover, they are making money. But the VAT liability is very, very high. So it's important for you to pay attention to VAT. And it is a consideration that I always raise with people who want to value their business. And then this is another one that's quite important in my opinion. And this is, do you have any cash conversion cycle advantages? Let me say that again. Do you have any cash conversion cycle advantages? If, again, we are price takers as consumers, you get paid, when I buy your product or your service immediately. You cut my hair, you serve my food, and I pay you straight away. Like Sainsbury's, for example, they get paid when you buy. We go to Sainsbury's, we buy a pack of sausages, and boom, transaction done. Now, I am sure they then take as long as they can to pay their suppliers. The king of all this is Costco in America, which is the big box supermarket warehouse. And Costco in America turn their stock 12.4 times per year. Let me explain this. So they can effectively sell everything in their stores faster than 30 days. So let's say they took 30 days to pay their suppliers. Effectively, their suppliers are financing the business. They have a negative cash conversion cycle. So if you buy goods or services for your company and you can sell those products or services faster than when you have to pay for those products or services back to your suppliers, that really does increase the value of your business. Having a negative cash conversion cycle is literally chef's kiss, because you don't have to ask for money, you don't have to get money lent to you. Your suppliers are effectively funding your operations. You don't have to ask for money, you are your own bank. Now there's a skill to this obviously, and it's very, very hard to do. But if you can sell the stock or your services before you pay any suppliers or any utilities or any whatever, then your business is going to be worth more. And so if you want to get your business valued, or if you are looking at a business to buy or sell, get in touch today. My number will be down here below, and I will see you in the next one. Any questions, please let me know.